right, so NASCAR had its debut at the Daytona Road Course. What were your first impressions of the road course, Preston?
I don't want to talk about
I think it was overhyped a little. I thought
it was very overhyped.
I thought it was going to be a lot of fun, a lot more fun than it was. I bet being there was fun, but I think the Daytona Road Course is made specifically for sports cars.
Yes.
And designed for that.
Yes.
Whereas the Roval is such a, it's a mile shorter with 10-degree less bankings, and they can get away with that, I think, and make it a more exciting race.
I'll throw it in there. So I told you before the show, Maples and I were talking about it, texting, and he hit me with the message. He goes, I think Daytona Road Course has too much oval, Daytona track to it. And I was like, yes. And so it's between that and, like you said, the track is made for sports cars, which I can totally see it. And then that last chicane on the front stretch is pointless.
Well, they did that because they were afraid of them coming out of the bus stop in the backstretch, going through NASCAR 3 and 4.
And carrying too much speed.
And carrying too much speed into turn 1, unrestricted.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but I think they could have done something else.
They were worried about the brakes, and I get that. I mean, it's a sports car race, and they were making up for the Watkins Glen race. And NASCAR is in a position now where it's like, either we do this or we have nothing.
I feel like NASCAR's kind of playing it by ear the entire way through this.
And as everybody is. But I feel like it's one of those things where it was good for, now we could look at the Clash coming up, which is on the road course, and say, will it be worth it on the road course, or do we go back to the oval?
I'm changing my mind already.
Yeah, I want to go back to the oval for the Clash. I like the Daytona Speed Weeks as it is. Don't change it anything up. This was a good idea. This was good filler. It doesn't replace Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
But
if there's a way to make the road course shorter for the Clash, then yes. But having 15 to 20 cars on that's not. I don't really see anything happening
the way we saw it was once somebody got in front, they were gone.
Yeah.
Regardless of trucks, Xfinity or Cup, they were gone. And I wasn't too overly like, this was the best racing I've seen in a while. This was all 3 races were okay races.
Yeah, being up
fun
front
to watch.
Pays off.
Fun to watch. But I even tweeted it turned into a Formula 1 race to me in the Cup race.
Yeah, like I just said, being in front pays off because if you're in front, you can get through one very easily. Everybody else is going to be stacked up back there, and everybody's going to be going left and right. So being up front pays off. And
then I thought it was overhyped too. The unknowns going into turn 1. Everybody was saying everybody's going to be calamity corner into turn 1 at the start of the race and on restarts. That only happened once in the truck race. And even then, that wasn't a calamity corner to me. When I heard of calamity corner, I thought it was going to be more like the Roval a couple of years ago when Keselowski forgot to turn and locked up the brakes and everybody just stacked up behind him.
Yeah.
It wasn't set up like that. You're not going to see that. You're going to, if anything, you're going to see him cut through the tri-oval and just go to turn 1.
Well,
I don't know. It was all right.
I'll tell you this. So you saw over the past week, Kevin Harvick put on social media that like, oh, this is going to be interesting going into 1 because I don't know where I'm going. And people were like, oh yeah, you're right. He doesn't know where he's going. We don't know what's going to happen. Or some people were like, oh, you got this. Like, I don't think are you people not thinking that these guys are actually practicing this at home?
Yeah.
Come on. Like, why is he out here making that kind of a statement when we know that dude has probably already practiced that track like 50 times at home?
I think it's just hyping it up like old WWF thing.
No, he's not cutting any promos there. That is the worst promo I've seen cut then.
Well, your rating the races are going to be interesting, I tell you that. But we go into the truck race. My top 5 from this weekend. Sheldon Creed's number 1. I thought it was a good showing for Sheldon. Second in stage 1, first in stage 2, and race winner. And I guess there was a triple payout where he won $50,000, but I think he's going to lose some of that because of the little expletive he did at the end of the race. But I thought it was a good race for him. Congratulations, Sheldon Creed. Matt Crafton's my number 2. Had an up and down day, but ended up finishing 4th. Finished outside the top 10 in both stage 1 and 2, but ended up finishing 4th. Scott LaGrace Jr.
Oh, Legacy. Scott
Legacy's Jr.
Yeah.
I apologize. Throughout the history of the show, I can't read. Ended up finishing 9th, but he was there at the end. Wasn't there in stage 1 or 2, but ended up finishing 9th. Stuart Friesen needed that top 10. Could have helped out with a little more stage points, but good top 10. And Austin Hill, top 10 all day. Finished 5th, top 5. Can't complain. Who's your top 10 or top 5?
Versus Sheldon Creed.
Yep. No ifs, ands, or buts there for that one.
I put Ralph Lessard second. So he didn't finish in the top 10 in stage 1, but 7th in stage 2, getting a 3rd place overall finish for Ralph Lessard. So that's a good run for him. Tyler Ankrum, I have in 3rd, 7th in stage 1, 3rd in stage 2, 6th overall. Brett Moffitt is my number 4, 1st in stage 1, 9th in stage 2, finishing 2nd. And then I have Scott Legacy Jr. in 5th.
Yep.
He finished 9th overall, but I put on the side here that he had started 30th, and that's what
he's
really sold it for me there, too.
And, 32nd in stage 1, 24th in stage 2, and eked away with that 9th place finish, man. Yeah. It's all about where you finish that final stage, and top 10's always win it for me. That's a good possibility to get into my top 5, start deep in the field, finish in the top 10. So now we get to rating the race here. We're going to rate the truck race. The race overall for me was, I'd say, average, a little above average. I rated memorability 7, competitiveness 8 or 7, intensity 8, unpredictability 8, and excitement 7. Overall for me, 7.4. How do you rate the race?
I think this one was a little bit higher. I'm not really sure. I need Ian to put it up on the screen over there for me because I didn't write it down. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a little bit higher than I thought it was. Again.
Yeah, a little higher than mine.
So memorability was a 7. Competitiveness was an 8, intensity 8, unpredictability 8, and then excitement was 7. So a 7.6 overall. And if I look through my notes, I think that was the highest race that I have out of the Cup Series altogether. I mean, I'm sorry, out of NASCAR. I don't even know why I said the Cup Series just now. I think that was my highest race of the weekend.
It was my second highest.
But like I've said in past shows before, I always find the Truck Series to be a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So who to watch out for? We're going to Dover. All 3 series going to Dover. We got a couple double headers for the Xfinity and Cup, and then one for the Truck Series coming up here. My who to watch for, I got top 5 drivers here. These drivers, I took the last 4 Dover starts, and unless otherwise noted. And here's my top 5 who to watch out for. Brett Moffitt with 2 starts, average finish of 7th. Matt Crafton, average finish of 4.75. He's going to need a win definitely. Grant Enfinger, 3 starts, but an average finish of 7th. Johnny Sauter, last 4 races, average finish 1.75.
Oh.
It's won a few races in there. And Austin Hill, although he has an average finish of 20.5, I feel like he's got a win in the cells and he's coming around to be a decent driver. But who do you got for the Truck Series for the top 5?
Well, I didn't go very deep like you did with all the looking back and everything.
I got the stats.
Yeah, you're the stat guy.
That's right.
You gonna get a shirt that says that too? I'm the stat guy. With thumbs.
We'll think about that. We got to sell what we have now.
Okay.
We got to sell our current inventory.
Well, top 5 to watch for. I have Brett Moffitt. I have Sheldon Creed, Zane Smith, Tyler Ankrum, and Christian Eckes, and then Derek Kraus still really isn't much of a dark horse. I think he's a dark horse every once in a while, but he still just kind of hangs out there every week. So. I'm
not even doing dark horses or honorable mentions this week. I'm going to do straight up top 5. This is who I'm picking.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go from the Truck City Xfinity Series. I tell you what, man, Xfinity Series was a lot of fun for me to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and no surprise who the winner is. Austin Cindric won that race. He's a good road course racer from Road America, and now has won the Daytona Road Course. How do you enjoy the race? Did you enjoy it better or worse than the truck race?
Probably a little bit better. I mean, when we get into rating it, it's not going to be like the truck race.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was still a good race.
I thought it was. Overall, my top 5 for this, Mike Snyder, 27th starting spot, but ended up finishing 10th. No stage points whatsoever in that. Andy Lally, I'm going to mention him again. I mentioned him last week. Started 6th. Top 10 all day. Ended up finishing 5th. Austin Cindric dominated from the pole. Stage 1 winner, Stage 2 second, and won the race overall. Justin Allgaier started 17th, needed a good run. Top 10 all through the stages, and ended up finishing 9th. And Brandon Jones, starting 10th, had a little bit of a hiccup in Stage 1, but ended up finishing great in Stage 2 with a 3rd and 8th overall. So I thought Brandon Jones did a great job. Who are your top 5 from that race?
I didn't put Austin Cindric in it.
Okay. Well, I didn't put Lewis Hamilton in the top 5 for.
Go. So I have Andy Lally as number 1.
Yeah.
AJ Allmendinger was number 2.
I was going to put him, but I decided against it. But
he's kind of like an avid road racer.
Yeah, and he's not full-time. He's not going for a championship either.
Yeah. Riley Herbst, I have third. I put Harrison Burton in there. He didn't finish in the top 10 in stage 1, but third in stage 2 and then 8th overall. My 5th place guy had an accident. I believe he wrecked out completely. Earl Bamber.
Okay.
5th in stage 1 and 7th in stage 2. And of course, he had that accident in stage 3, but I just put him in there because he was having a really good run. I mean,
where did he finish?
I think it was in the low 30s. I didn't look at it.
It's not going to make my cut for a top 5. I tell you that. You got to finish the race in order to get on my top 5.
I thought he was doing well, and I gave Myatt Snyder an honorable mention there.
Yeah, Myatt Snyder had a great run. Here's how I rated the race for the Xfinity race: memorability 7, competitiveness 8, intensity 6, unpredictability 6, excitement 8. Overall rating for the Xfinity race from the Daytona Road Course of a 7.
Wow, 7. Okay. Mine was 7 too.
Okay.
Because it was 7s all the way down the board.
Oh, well, simple enough, man. I mean, yeah, I thought it was okay. Definitely a little worse than I feel the truck race was as far as that, but the truck race is always more fun to watch for me.
Yeah.
But now we get into who to watch out for the coming up Dover, coming up down to the wire here in the regular season. And here are my top 5 for the Dover Xfinity race. Michael Arnett, last 4 races, has an average finish of 9.75. Chase Briscoe, in 3 starts, 9.6. Austin Cindric, average finish of 2nd in last 4 races there. Watch out. Austin Cindric's going to come for that Xfinity Series championship, and I think he's going to be the guy to beat. Justin Allgaier needs a good run, average finish of 11.3 in the last 4 starts. And Noah Gragson, in the last 3 starts, average finish of 11th. Who do you got for the Xfinity Series?
I have Austin Cindric in there and Noah Gragson, kind of like 2 shoe-ins, I guess you could say.
Definitely
probably.
Austin Cindric. Noah Gragson's hit or miss, but I feel he's up there.
I have Harrison Burton. I put Justin Allgaier and then Riley Herbst.
All right.
Rounds out my top 5 to watch for this.
Sounds like Riley's more of a dark horse to me. To me, he was. Okay. I feel like, Austin Cindric's to the Xfinity Series as Harvick is to the Truck Series.
Yes.
You got to beat Austin Cindric in order to have a shot at it. So that was the Xfinity race. That's coming up here. We'll give you the dates and times before the end of the show to make sure you got all the correct times to tune into. But the Cup Series, we're going to start off with you. Top 5 from the race.
So my top 5 is going to kind of sound like a Hendrick stable here.
Okay.
I have William Byron as my first, so 7th in stage 1, 4th stage 2, 8th overall. So he got a good top 10 finish, ran top 10 most of the day, which is good because he's been struggling lately.
Right.
Jimmy Johnson is my number 2. Even though he didn't finish in the top 10 in stage 2, he had a 3rd place in stage 1 and then finished 4th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Elliott, the man that seemed like he was the dominant force out there, which is good. A good change of scenery for once.
Most definitely. Well, he's the road course guy.
Yeah,
definitely
we saw him win
now.
at the Roval. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So first stage 1, 7th, and then 1st overall.
Yep.
Michael McDowell.
He was up there all day.
Did not get top 10 finishes in either state of the first 2 stages, but he was in the top 10 and in the top 5 at some points too.
Yep.
I was really pulling for him. He came in 10th place overall, but a good top 10 finish.
Yeah, really good run for him.
Motorsports with that guy is really hanging in there.
They're coming along. They're getting their own.
And then I have Kaz Gralla filling in for Austin Dillon with a 7th overall place finish.
He's my 5th place too. Started in the rear of the field, replacing Austin Dillon after his COVID positive test. Austin Dillon's COVID positive test. Didn't really. I think it took him a while to get it, but once he got it, finished 7th in his first race. He's my 5th place too. I'll tell you that. Here's my top 4, other than Kaz. Chris Buescher started 21st, 29th in stage 1, 23rd in stage 2, 5th.
That's a good one.
Definitely finished the race 5th. I was quite excited about that. Chase Elliott started 7th, 1st in stage 1, 7th in stage 2, and 1st overall. Dominated. Clint Boyer, my 3rd place driver, started 12th, 4th in stage 1, 2nd in stage 2, and 6th overall. And Jimmy Johnson is going to be my 4th, starting 11th, like you said, up and down day, but ended up finishing 4th. That's exactly what he needed to do. Rating the race. Here's how I rated the race. Memorability 8, competitiveness 8, intensity 9, unpredictability 7, excitement 8 for an overall rating for the Cup race from the Daytona Road Course of an 8.
That's a pretty high one.
I'd say so, considering I talked smack about the road course before the start of this segment.
Yeah. Well, my talk will definitely still reflect here. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody. Memorability 7. I had unpredictability at a 6, excitement at a 6, intensity was a 7, and competitiveness was a 7, so 6.6 overall.
Okay.
Not a really big fan of the road course, like I said.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I thought the race there was good. I think NASCAR is going to take that and say, do we go in with the Clash or...
I just don't see... I don't know.
It's 50-50 now. I don't think they're going to do it.
I wouldn't.
If I was
running it, I would not.
If I was NASCAR, I would not do that.
No.
All right. I got to interrupt with
okay.
a layman's question.
Okay, go for it.
So when I'm watching these races, I kind of see the same thing every race.
As far as what?
Like these races kind of, like when I see a NASCAR race, I don't understand how you guys look at it and be like, oh, I'm rating this race. Like what? I know we have like the qualifiers here of like intensity, unpredictability.
Right.
But what really makes the race for you?
It really depends. I think for me, it will be as far as memorability, I think I remember it more if I'm there and actually taking in all the sights and sounds of it. But as far as that, it's like anything that makes history. So the Daytona Road Course is our first time racing there in these cars. So that made it memorable for me, as long with the trucks and Xfinity cars. Competitiveness, you know, I think that goes without saying. You look out. Preston does this in Formula One. He looks through the field at the races. And I do that in NASCAR and see if people are racing each other and if there's actually a race for the lead, if they're beating and banging more so. Intensity goes into that, beating and banging. Unpredictability, like in Formula One, if Lewis Hamilton's out front and unless something catastrophic happens to that car, he's going to win.
Yeah.
I feel.
And he's that guy that I remember watching a race with you, Lude, where it's like you were so disappointed, like Lewis Hamilton won again. Like,
that was the one at
with the
Silver,
tire, with the tire
incident. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, he won with a flat tire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh man,
Yeah, that was.
I was pretty upset about that one. And then excitement kind of just wraps it all up together. Was the race exciting to watch? Would I rewatch the race again in a future date?
Yeah.
And then overall, we just average them together. But really, if there's a history-making moment, like Jimmy Johnson winning his 7th championship in 2016, that was a historical moment.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's all personal.
Okay.
Personal preference. So we could watch the same race and you could say that was a boring race, whereas I say that was exciting.
Right.
Preston and I watched the same Formula One race. Preston would say that was the best thing I've ever seen. And
when you were talking about how like when I rate it, I look at things that go on through the field. With Formula One, there's only a 20-car field, so usually Formula One is pretty good at hitting on everything that's going on. Unlike when you watch like NASCAR races, especially like NBC and Fox, who are just kind of hitting on like the top 5 the entire day, and there's like a 35-car field.
Well, keep it in the box. Benny Parsons used to say, "Keep it in the box, and we'll talk about you."
That's a good. I mean, that's good.
That's good.
That's good.
You know, that's the way I see it, especially with my top 5s overall in the race. If you don't finish in that top 10 or don't impress me, odds are you're not going to make it. You might make an honorable mention, but...
Well, I mean, I also kind of look at it as teams don't have the funding either. It's just, it comes down to what Formula One is. Even though Formula One can cover all 20 drivers in the field, Williams Racing's got no points this year because they are just left way in the dust.
Yeah, poor Williams.
Poor Williams is right. So.
Poor Williams. But, all right, so we did... Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was perfect. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad you're here and asking those questions because there might be a fan out there who has the same question, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a guy who's pretty new to racing, it's like I want to know what to look out for. Like,
yeah,
it's like a totally new thing. I'm like, yeah, you gotta.
We need to take you to a race, and
I gotta go. The Sumter Speedway. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you haven't been baptized by the dirt. If you haven't listened to Baptized by the Dirt, listen to it. It's like episode 46.
Yeah,
Baptized by the Dirt. Okay.
Yeah. Caroline and I went there, but who to watch out for? Going to Dover. Here's who I got. My top 5, no surprise up there. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin leading the top 5 for me. Kevin Harvick with an average finish of 2.75 there. Denny Hamlin with an 8.75. Martin Truex Jr. is going to be third for me, average finish of 5.5. Jimmy Johnson had number of wins there, but hasn't done well in the past few years there. Average finish of 16.75 over the past 4 races. And Chase Elliott with an average finish of 14th, but he's got some wind in his sails, man. Going to the Monster Mile. This is for both races. I think those are the guys who watch out for. What do you got?
Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. Easy.
Okay.
I put Jimmy Johnson in there.
Yep.
He's got history there. And so does Martin Truex Jr.
All right. Who's your 5th?
Clint Boyer.
Yeah, good one.
So
it's going to be a dark horse for me. He needs to fool something out. No, you don't want to wait till Daytona to lock yourself in. And I think Jimmy Johnson maybe bounce backs here. He's got 2 chances.
I think Jimmy Johnson gets, I don't know if I would say he's going to win, but he's going to need a good showing.
Yep.
So.
Okay, and then we got the Indianapolis 500 this weekend. Ran with no fan. It's going to be run with no fans due to the spike in COVID-19. You don't have a who to watch.
No.
But I did some research, and here's my top 5 who to watch out for. Scott Dixon, last 4 Indy 500s, average finish of 15th, but has won the race. Will Power, again, winner of the race. Average finish of 9.75 in the last 4 Indy 500s. Simon Pagenaud, 10th. I think he's going to go for it. Joseph Newgarden, average finish of 8.5 in the last 4 races. And Ed Carpenter, average finish of 12.5 in the last 4 Indianapolis 500s. Those are my guys who to watch out for. Indy 500 is going to be this weekend. Again, we'll get you the times and everything in our final segment. But that's all I got for NASCAR, man. You got anything else before we head into our final thoughts?
I have nothing else.
All right, man. We'll just go ahead and head into our final thoughts and get our driver of the week and this week in NASCAR and look at our In the Marbles 2.0 fantasy standings.